watching this either live or later on when I post it on YouTube, on my Facebook page and my YouTube channel here. I hope everyone, you know what, I can't even say it. I just can't say it. I was about to say I hope everyone has a happy Memorial Day weekend, but I just can't say it. Because in the last 2 weeks, we found out that 30 plus people are not going to have a happy Memorial Day. We found out that 30 plus people, 30 plus families have been destroyed because of this. I'm of course talking about the shooting in Buffalo, New York, and the shooting in Uvalde, Texas, just recently, a few days ago. And not to mention the inhumanity that many Americans, many gun nut, card-carrying members of the NRA have shown the last couple of days, let's just say the last few weeks. No, I'm even going to go even further than that. The last few years, the last 10 years, the last 20 years, all the way to Columbine, hell, all the way to what happened at Texas Tech. Not Texas Tech, forgive me, into Kent State. They murders during the Vietnam War. Now, what I'm about to read to you are some comments that a Facebook friend of mine gave to me. They're comments from people outside the United States of America, and frankly, I can't disagree with any of them. And they're not coming from people who hate the United States overseas. They're coming from our allies. They're coming from people that care what happens to this country, truly care. But after the last couple of weeks, honestly, I'm not sure they care anymore. Or at the very least, they feel sorry for the people in this country. Here's a few of those comments here. Reading from this, they say, America and their Second Amendment gun-toting loons. Absolutely heartbreaking to see so many suffer because of their lack gun laws and their love of guns. Another comment says, America just doesn't care as long as they can keep a gun. If another country did nothing to permit the slaughter of innocents, the United States would want to and get involved, sanction, and possibly even invade. Zero respect for the U.S. right now, the biggest cult in the world has ever seen. And it's America, where it seems the almighty dollar is worth more than children's lives. Moving on, and this is the one comment that I think everyone should be really paying attention to. It amazes me that in America, we're more enraged and careful about a simple thing like wearing a mask to protect themselves from others from a virus they demonstrated and infringes on their freedoms. They should be more concerned with children. Children should be able to feel safe at school. Oh my God, I feel so sorry for every parent that has lost their child and the poor innocent teachers and their families. This is just awful. All these shootings in America over the years, killing innocent children and people still think it's right to carry guns. I stopped feeling any pity for the USA now. They won't give up their guns, so events like this keep happening. Awful and tragic, but inevitable. God help them. All this crap about constitutional rights, it was written over 300 years ago where guns were single-shot muskets and flintlock pistols. You can get a second shot maybe 15 seconds or later with practice. Not written in automatic and assault weapons in mind for sure. Unrestricted guns and laws are a horrendous number of gun-related deaths and mass shootings. Solution, even more guns. Have to love American logic. And there are more comments like this, but I wanted to just stop it there because it would take too much time in this video. The fact of the matter is, all the countries that, from the comments I've read here, they have gun laws. Just to give you a small piece of example, New Zealand, after the Christchurch massacre at the mosque, where a right-wing nut job listening to replacement theory, actually, after that tragedy happened, after the bodies were counted, after the mourning and everything else, New Zealand enacted gun laws, and they haven't had a shooting since. Great Britain, same deal. African countries, same deal. But we in the United States of America are the only country that allows this to happen. For Christ's sake, days after what happened in Texas, the NRA, the National Rifles Association, had their goddamn convention in Houston, Texas, days after the murder in Irvindale. And of course, the usual suspects had to show up. Donald Trump, who's campaigning for returning to the White House. Ted Cruz. I'm going to get to these assholes in a few minutes. I'm going to get to them. But all the Republicans except for Greg Abbott, because he knew he did wrong, trying to support the cops when they didn't do anything for 45 minutes and listening to kids being killed. Well, anyway, the problem I got with all this is the inaction from the Republican Party, from the Republicans in the Senate, from the Republicans in Congress. I'm tired of the inaction, and I'm sick of it, and it should make you sick as well. I mean, after the tragedy, Ted Cruz goes out and says the problem isn't guns. He didn't even mention mental health, which is the only excuse that these gun nuts can give, is that the gunman was crazy. Yes, obviously he was insane. However, that's not the only problem. But in Ted Cruz's mind, the only problem he has is doors. Now, I've showed this in a previous video, so you can probably look through it, probably a couple of videos before. But he says because of doors, that's why the tragedy happened, because of doors. Now, I may have, that can be argued maybe, but that's not the only issue. And I also showed you a video that when Ted Cruz was confronted by reporters asking him why in the United States is that happening, is mass shootings happening only in the United States to the alarming degree that it's happening, he ran. He turned cur and he turned coward. He ran. Because none of these Republicans had the balls to talk about what the problem is, the gun. Because of our lax gun laws that let an 18-year-old kid carry a gun in the first place. You have to go through more than that, more than just willy-nilly walking into a place and getting a job. Willy-nilly getting yourself a driver's license. You have to go through more than that just to get a drink of beer at that age. But in his mind, the only problem is doors. And of course, you have the Republicans following suit, like Mary Jean Taylor Greene, who pretty much says that we took God out of schools. Really? God was in my school every time I walked in. I know he was watching out for me and watching out for my classmates. Just because you didn't hear his name every 15 seconds in the classroom doesn't matter. God is everywhere. Before Marjorie Taylor Greene, of course, the gun nut that she is, there's others, like Lauren Boebert, who had the temerity to say after September 11th, this is coming from her own goddamn Twitter feed too, after September 11th, she says that we didn't ban planes after September 11th happened. Really? One of the greatest terrorist attacks in American history, and you want to say that we didn't ban planes afterwards? We made sure that people got on planes safely, that people were safe on planes, that people were safe in airports. Why can't we do the same thing with guns? The whole point I'm trying to make about all of this is the inaction, the inhuman inaction by Republican partyists. And of course there's the man himself, Donald fucking Trump. Donald Trump, who had the temerity to speak at the NRA convention, who actually read the names of the victims in the NRA convention of the massacre in Texas. And afterwards, after a moment that should have been sacrosanct to you, should have been sacrosanct to me, should have been sacrosanct to him, and all the other gun nuts that were there, which were very few of, but more protesters outside of the convention. That's a bit of an ironic twist. He goes up and dances and smiles. You bastard! You dance and smile after reading the names of people who were murdered in a massacre. You know, as I said earlier, the inhumanity of all this is not surprising. It's staggering, but it's not surprising. But when you have a former leader of the country who smiles and dances after reading the names of the 20 victims, 18 of them children, this country has lost its soul. When you're an attorney general of a state like Ken Paxton saying that laws won't work, you've lost your bravery. When you're a senator like Ted Cruz saying that doors, not guns, are the problem, you've lost your mind. When you're a congresswoman like Lauren Boebert, who says that we didn't ban planes after a terrorist attack that killed thousands, you lost your senses. And that is what this country has done. It's lost its mind, it's lost its soul, it's lost its bravery, it's lost its senses. And right now, it needs to get them back, starting with this issue. Now, Republicans want to scream about inflation. They want to scream about all this crap that we can fix. When are we going to fix guns in this country? Now, this isn't coming from me. This is coming from actual research. Over 80 or 90% of this country across all political lines, Republicans, Democrats, Green Parties, Independents, Libertarians, they all want a sense of gun control. They want background checks, they want red flags, they want training, they want everything when it comes to guns. They want guns to be regulated as we regulate cars, as we regulate cigarettes, as we regulate alcohol, as we regulate drugs, as we regulate everything in existence to keep people safe. And the only people who are not doing that, who are not trying to keep people safe, are Republicans bought by the NRA. In my view, the NRA needs to be dismantled. Needs to stay out of politics. Needs to pay the funerals of everyone who died during the gun massacres in the last 2 weeks. Hell, the last 20 years, because all they have done is created excuses. Nothing but boneheaded, stupid excuses as to why people are dead. Not because of mental illness that Governor Greg Abbott cut funding for. Let's not forget about that, Abbott. You cut funding for mental health in your state. Not because of all the other excuses, because of video games, because of violence in television, because of God being out of schools, because of guns and how they are so open to everyone in this country. I went through background checks when I got my first job. Huge background checks. I got asked every question in the book. But however, when it comes to guns, no questions, no background checks, nothing in this country. And what do we get from that? We got Irvindale, we got Buffalo, we got Sadie Hook, we got Columbine, we got every single mass shooting. I can't even go on with this. The laws need to change. And those who do not want to change the laws need to be removed from office now. And unfortunate as it may sound, and as unfortunate as it seems, the people who are not changing laws happen to be Republicans. So the best way of gun control for all of us here right now, Republicans, Democrats, all of us, human beings, Americans, the best way of gun control right now, go to the polls, go to your voting booths this November, vote every single Republican that's taken a penny, one solitary penny from the NRA, and vote their asses out. Because if they stay in, more Americans are going to die. They've already made clear they don't care. A Republican congressman whom I filed a report against said that he would rather say he doesn't care how many kids get killed as long as the Second Amendment, as long as his guns remain in his hands. That should tell you everything you need to know about the Republican Party, about the NRA, and how serious they take the safety of your children. and every single Republican, and every single card-carrying NRA person out there, every card-carrying person who has the Second Amendment in their back pocket. Everyone who calls me everything in the world, from a communist to an un-American, everything else, just because I want to keep children safe from mass shootings. Now I know it's going to be uncomfortable, it's going to be hard, but it needs to be done. Because if it's not done, more children are going to die, and the blood will be on all of our hands. Right now, it's on the Republican Party's hands. Right now, it's on the NRA's hands. Don't let the blood be on your hands. Now, again, I want to thank you all for watching this video. And again, if you guys watched it live, or if you, or when I actually download this video on YouTube and put it on my Facebook page, thank you all for watching. God bless you all. Peace to the left, justice to the right.